And I could wait for this to end, or we can make all those mistakes again. And I could die, or I could live, and build up my own resentment. Or you can make it my fault, and you can find your own way home. So go leave me alone, leave me alone, leave me alone.
Hey, excellent, excellent. Alex, very excited to have you on the show, Alex. Alex Dugan, of course, of Culture Wars. Big fans of your sound, man. Big fans of your sound and of your band. Yeah, you first came to us through our friend of the show, Rob Loud, the music photographer.
Oh, yeah.
He's the one that turned us on to you guys. So, of course, your new single, Teche, is just blowing up the alt-rock charts here in America. Leave Me Alone and Faith last year, same thing, man, skyrocketed. So just stoked to have you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I like the U2 in the back too.
Oh yeah, good. That's good. Well, it makes sense because you guys are really good live performers. But how are you doing, Alex?
I'm good. I'm in Sydney right now and
Nice.
just, writing as much music as I possibly can in the meantime. And we've been releasing tech kind of progressively here and the EP, and so it's been kind of cool to. Because it's such a slow process. It's been kind of cool of like from writing to recording to releasing to now. And then of course you throw in a pandemic, which makes everything different in terms of release schedule stuff. But it's cool to finally be getting this stuff out because it's been a little while.
Yeah, absolutely, Alex. And how are things in Australia with the pandemic? Things?
Yeah, I mean it's so like to come here, for example, I had to quarantine for 14 days, like mandatory. They have specific hotels set up. You get off the plane and the army escorts you into a bus and then into the hotel. And so you don't go anywhere near anybody. And then you can't leave the room for 14 days. So you do that to get in here in the first place. And then beyond that, other than a couple snap lockdowns because of cases where essentially the only reason it ever happens is because it's a doctor or a nurse who's treating a patient who was in the hotel but got so sick they had to bring him into the hospital. So other than that, of a couple snap lockdowns, everything's like 2019 over here. So it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. Absolutely, Alex. So it's funny you mentioned U2 because whenever we see one of your live shows or we hear one of them, like with the other day in research, we saw the one at Third and Lindsley in Nashville a couple of years ago, and one of your many gigs, you guys are like a live band, Alex. You guys have this great connection with your fans so quickly and so energetic. Was the pandemic hard on you guys, Alex, to like not being able to connect with your fans and on the stage that way?
Yeah, it was a little bit. It's a little bit of a tease, honestly, because for us, we were with Rob actually. We were in Vegas.
Yeah.
Doing a show that was like just for radio programmers because we were right about to put out Tech. And this was like February 20 something of 2020. So it's like right before.
Right in the cusp, yeah.
And we had gotten ready to do the shows and tours or whatever. We prepped the whole show, all the new music. We spent like weeks getting it all like to sound, exactly how we wanted it to. We got to play it twice.
Right.
We did a warm-up gig in Austin for friends just to like work the kinks out, and then we did the Vegas show for the programmers, and then so I mean it definitely was a bummer, but for us the entire last year has been okay. Well, we need to do something. So what are we gonna do? All right, let's go write as much as we possibly can.
Nice.
So I mean we've written a lot. We have a lot of material we're now working on. We'll see where it all goes because we're very much just a quality over quantity. So there's just a constant revision process that we're going through.
Yeah.
But yeah, not being able to play live definitely is not fun. But it'll make it all that more worth it. Eventually once it all turns back around, and it has enabled us to be very online centric and pivot. I mean, this is less of the art side, but online centric and pivot essentially the business and how we reach people. Yeah. And do a little experimenting there and just see what works. But it's been interesting. So I definitely miss playing. Like here, the most you'll get is like I haven't even seen a live band, like nobody has, but like you'll get like a guy like playing acoustic guitar in a bar, and it's kind of funny to just be like staring at them enviously. Like I don't want to play acoustic guitar in a bar, but just the fact that like anyone's doing anything, it's like,
Yeah,
know.
I know. It's pretty interesting, Absolutely, Alex. And I'm glad you brought up your creative process because, you guys are amazing both production wise and lyrically. So I want to ask you about both.
Thank you.
Production wise, you take a song like, I mean, all of them, but like, let's say Faith, amazing production, so layered,
Yeah.
so many like, like loops and stuff, man. How do you guys know, like you and your team, and you look at David and you look at Vic and you say, guys, like this is ready? Like, because I feel like you guys can go on forever with these songs, like just adding new elements to it. When do you know that it's like ready to go out?
Mm, uh, I think you just kind of reach a point. For me, the point is where it makes me excited to listen to it all the way through, and I don't hear anything that sticks out. So if that makes
Gotcha.
sense. So like I'm kind of listening to it, and I'm like that's it stuck out that that's not right. Like I'll
You're
hear it
looking
where the
for the
drum needs
fuck
to be
ups,
louder.
basically. Yeah.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. So I'm just trying to see where things aren't right, and if I could listen to it all the way through, be excited by it, and I don't hear anything that doesn't sound right, then it's like okay. And then of course we have the luxury of like once it's done, like being able to take it to Manny Marroquin and stuff like that, and he can like just make it that much better. But even in that process, that's still how my brain works. I'm like,
Yeah.
like it bothered me that that's not as loud, and that's kind of the way I do notes. So yeah, I mean that's essentially it. I mean, a song like Faith is well, the record Tech in general was interesting because it was all done and written within like a week, and it was all kind of just a blur, frankly. And
Really?
so
Wow.
to go back and like think about it, I don't really remember much of it. So but I do remember some key parts. And I mean, with Faith, it was just this like one thing after another just kind of fell into place, and it worked out that way. And then later,
Nice.
building that outro was more so just like okay, like what if we just kind of experimenting until it sounded exciting and like something you wanted to listen
Yeah.
to.
Yeah. And I was gonna ask you about the songwriting too, because I feel like, the production is so good that maybe people won't pay attention to how good your songwriting is. It's really like the underrated star of your songs. What is your process there, Alex, for writing? I mean, what I mean is, do you talk to the guys and are you like, all right, guys, tomorrow, 9 to 5, locking myself in, my discipline, I'm putting something on paper? Or is it like you just said, more normally, like the muse just randomly hits?
Well, so two different ways. With Tech, it was let's go out to El Paso, well Tornillo, and let's Sonic Ranch. Let's go out there. Let's just get immersed in it. Let's buy a couple cases of wine. Let's just like hang out and just see what happens because we hadn't tried to write music in a really long time together
Hmm.
in general because we had taken like a little bit of a break and
Right.
we had been touring and doing all the radio promo for Bones because that's how long ago it was. And so we're like burned out from touring. We took a couple months to just like chill. We hadn't done anything, so we come back and let's just hang out, let's let loose, let's just see what happens. And we didn't have anything going in,
Right.
and we came out with it with all of that stuff. And we weren't intending to go in to make a record either. So that was a
Mhm.
very like not. It was just like let's just do something because we haven't seen each other in a while. It'd be fun. We like going to Tornillo. We love hanging out at Sonic Ranch. So okay, why not? At the worst case, we had fun. And whereas now here in Australia, it's like a very regimented, especially with the time difference, because
Right.
we're doing everything over Zoom and I'm the only one here. Because the time difference becomes very regimented. So when
Sure.
I'm writing, it's like, okay, not, this is, it's weird to say now retrospectively, but it's like, all right, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., like literally, because that's
Yeah.
the time it is here. I mean, for them, it's like 3 p.m. to midnight or something. But all right, 9 to 5, we're gonna do this, and it's gonna be on Tuesday and Thursday with an option to do Wednesday or something like that. It's very like
Nice.
scheduled. But
Nice.
I think that's more so just because we all have to be. Well, for me at least, it's just kind of the time difference thing. But I've enjoyed doing it more regimented. But of course, you have to go in with the idea of like I may do 3 days in a row, 36 hours of writing, and I may have nothing at the end of it, and that's okay. And
Yeah.
so if you can go in with the idea that like you're not going in for a product, you're going in to just get better, then it takes the pressure off, and in turn you end up doing better work. Because if you're like, okay, I got to do something, then it's never gonna fucking happen. Uh, so that's kind of the difference between old and new, but both work, frankly. I mean, I've gotten just as much just hanging out and working with the guys like randomly, and then just things kind of happening, and
Yeah.
then just as much now being like concentrated on it. So it's
Amazing.
kind of just whatever mood you're in, you know. It's kind of but taking the pressure off yourself, because you can't wait for something to just hit, you know.
Sure, sure. Amazing. So much to unwrap there. That's a great answer. Thanks for sharing. Um, like, okay, so you're talking about the magic that sometimes has hit your band, and I feel like one of your breakthrough hit singles with Money, that kind of happened, right? Also in Santa Fe, if I'm not mistaken, something with the, that
El
epic
Paso,
like
yeah.
feed, yeah, in El Paso, that epic feedback story at 3 in the morning or something like that. Do you mind sharing that story with our audience? I just think it's fascinating.
Yeah, we were. Let's see, what exactly we were in El Paso. We were in Tornillo. We were at Sonic Ranch, and we were working on overdubs for Delilah, I think is what it was.
Right.
And he was just doing that over and over again. You know that thing, and it just at some point he clicked something random, and it created this weird like feedback of this,
Right.
and he just started messing around with it, and we were in the middle of it. I remember because our producer at the time was pissed off at me because of how ADD I was, and we were in the middle of doing this. I was like, no, stop. And he goes, what? And I go, that right there, grab that. And he's like what? And I'm like, just grab that, like make it like. He's like, well, that doesn't fit in the song. I go, I realize that. Is there something else? And so I was like, hold on. And so we started a whole new session in the middle of doing this, because I was just like, But
Right.
This is also around the time where I was very into, because my family's Russian, and they drink beluga vodka, and you eat like a pickle afterwards, and so
Oh, nice.
so you keep it in the freezer. So I had everybody, like, just even the engineers and the assistants, were just keep pouring all these shots, and we're all drinking. So I'm obviously shit faced, but I'm like, no, that, and so it's a little bit of like, all right, drunkie, like, kind of.
Right.
But no, I mean, the entire instrumental track for that song was all done based on that loop in the middle of the session, just randomly. And it was like 2-3 in the morning. And that's what's cool about Sonic, is there's no hours, because everyone lives there, so you can do whatever the hell you want. And,
Right.
so yeah, so I mean, it was just kind of this like weird moment of like grabbing this loop and then just building this entire track, and then later like writing the music around it, but not the music around it, but the vocals around it. I mean, that was my part was the only thing that didn't get done, but I don't know how functional
Right.
I was at the time anyway. So yeah, so it was just very, very weird, because I mean, waking up the next morning, I didn't remember doing it, so it was like, oh, what the hell is this?
Dude,
And it
that's
was,
incredible.
yeah, it was cool, and it was fun, like full circle to have like Alan Mulder work on it like after the fact, and mix it for us and stuff like that, because that's kind of where that realm of my musical taste kind of comes from, is like a lot of his work, with Nine Inch Nails and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, so it was just a very weird night, that kind of just all turned into that out
Yeah.
of nowhere. But that's been the process with a lot of songs that we have. I mean, the song Teche is one of those that was from just a late night.
Yeah.
All the music was done in one night. Caleb, our producer, and I didn't remember doing it either, and we listened to it in the morning, like, whoa. So I mean, but at the same time, there's also songs that are in complete sobriety. So I think there's different schools of thought, and kind of, if you
Sure.
take it in an artistic way, it's like there's all different ways to reach the goal, but it's all about just enjoying the process, having fun with it, taking the pressure off, and making stuff that you want to make.
That's awesome.
By whatever
That's great. I
means,
mean,
but
yeah, I mean, you guys have created such great music in such a short amount of time, man. I just have to tell you that, like,
I
it's pretty
appreciate it,
incredible.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. You briefly talked about Las Vegas, the shows, but you also had like a great like series of epic like little kind of like videos there.
Yeah.
What was the inspiration there for that? Like, to kind of like make like a little long movie, and like the characters, and kind of like make it like really dramatic and cool with that.
With the Super 8 stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So essentially the difference between Tech, the EP, and the new EP. Sorry, not the new EP, the old EP, I guess. The Culture Wars self-titled EP.
Culture Wars,
the
yeah.
Original.
2017. Mhm.
Yeah, but between that and that, with 2017, for us, like the whole mentality was very like polished and clean, and like because it was our first thing, like worried what people were going to think and all this other stuff. And whereas with Tech, we really just didn't give a shit, and we were just having fun, and it was more about, there was very little drama, very little arguing anything. It was just very like just having fun and having a good time, and it was all just raw. And so we were like, all right,
Right.
for this stuff, we could go back to doing like very polished whatever, because like I'm a film school kid, so that's where my head goes. But the guys were very adamant that like, no, this needs to like match the energy of the music and of us making the music. And so
Sure.
Dylan, I believe, brought up something about Super 8 film. I forgot why. But then our photographer and videographer and this guy we work with a lot, as well as Rob, this guy Moyo,
Hmm.
who's in Austin, was like, well, I have an old Super 8 camera. Like, we could like build a set and do this and do that. And I'm like, well, why build a set? I was like, Frontier Airlines, you can go round trip for like $70 to Vegas. That set's free. Let's just go. And so I was like, it's like we could spend $1,000 building the set. I'm like, well, $70, we could just fucking go. And I,
Yeah.
I get comped at the casino for gambling anyway. So
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's like a free trip. Let's do it, But so the decision was made to just like buy as much Kodak film as we could directly from Kodak and
Hmm.
load it up. And I think Charles came with us too, who works on, he's a writer on Leave Me Alone, but he also works creatively with us on a lot of things. He and Moyo, and then a different time Cesar and Rob all just shot this Super 8 footage, and it was completely undirected. It was just like, let's just go out and have a good time and just get
Nice.
drunk in Vegas and just film the whole thing. And at the end, we'll have, God knows how many hours of footage. We'll get it all developed and,
Nice.
find something from it. And then we also filmed the performance that we did in Vegas at the end. But yeah, it was just, let's just film as much as we possibly can and just see
So
what
cool.
happens. And so it was fun going back through it.
So cool, Alex. That's a great story, man. Yeah, I mean, look, you're being so good with your, so generous with your time. We thank you. I do have to ask you one more question, though.
Sure. Yeah.
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure 2, the sequel just came out. Keanu Reeves, classic '80s movie, and
Yep.
your song is in the soundtrack to one of them.
Yep.
Is it a little surreal to have stuff like that happen, or like I know your songs have been in a bunch of places. Does that does that give you a little bit of a jolt, or are you like used to it at this point?
No, I'm definitely not used to it. I'm not used to anything still. But no, it was. I mean, I always enjoyed those movies, and I know Dylan was just losing his mind over it for sure. And it's obviously very cool, and it was a huge boost to us as a band, and in terms of reaching more people and getting further. It was a huge favor and boost and awesome thing for us to be able to get. And so we're obviously very, very grateful to be anywhere remotely near it. And the which makes it even cooler when the soundtrack gets nominated for the Grammy and all that kind of stuff too, which was
Amazing.
crazy too. And it's yeah, I mean, it's given us a lot more things to talk about, that's for sure, with the
Yeah.
band, and helped propel Tech. And yeah, I mean, and that's Leave Me Alone, the song from that record, is also our most successful radio song
Mhm.
ever.
Yeah.
So I think we peaked at like 28 on the chart or something
Sure.
like that, which is way further than we'd ever gone. So it's been great to reach new people and obviously be involved in a movie like that.
Yeah.
And Keanu's everywhere, and he's
Yeah, he's another being. Alex,
yeah.
man, you've said it all, dude. We've loved having you. We love your band. We love your sound, and we think that it's what America needs as soon as we open back up. High
I
energy,
appreciate
great
that.
production. Man, people are craving like that kind of stuff, and like, man, we can't wait to have you guys here in Nashville and Texas and all around the country.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely, Alex. Thank you so much for your time, man. Congratulations on
Yeah.
everything. Keep it
Thank
up.
you. I
Thanks.
appreciate it.
All right.
Take it easy.